Kenya is the most stable democracy in East Africa. Kenya is the gateway to the East African market of almost 500 million consumers. Kenya is the regional logistics hub, and Kenya is the leading regional finance hub as well. Kenya is the leading destination for foreign direct investment and venture capital, and Kenya has the Silicon Savannah with super smart engineers. Kenya has a young, educated, English-speaking workforce. And Kenya, as I said, generates over 90% of its energy from renewable sources. And Kenya's largest export market is the United States. So let me repeat that. Kenya is the largest export market in the United States. And we feel Kenya is ready for export liftoff as it diversifies.
Meg. The figures she's quoted, the experience that Meg Whitman has, you are coming to a country that has a business mogul, as ambassador, who will guide you, who knows how things are done. Moses Kuria, come.
Thank you.
One second.
Oh, now what are we doing?
This gentleman here, Moses Kuria, a well-studied businessman all over the world, together with Meg Whitman, are in a position when you come to Kenya to know that they are not just government officials, but your friends who want you to make money, because that's your business. So yeah. But I want us, and I'm doing this on behalf of Kenya. I want us to hold Meg Whitman's hands here. Come. And thank you. And this is a way of saying thank you.
You're welcome.
That
thank you.
We have a good friend.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure.
You can't talk of innovation in Kenya and not mention M-Pesa in Kenya, which is one of the key highlights for us. Continues to actually make a significant difference. Incentives, Ambassador talked about some things that the President announced, ways to bring businesses to actually facilitate private sector investments. I won't go through most of the others, but the one I really want to highlight is many people talk about Kenya, and what comes to mind is the 50 million people who live in Kenya, and you perceive that as the size of the market. As a matter of fact, today we are a member of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. For private sector is where do you want to base your headquarters or your operation. And Kenya, both as countries but also as private sector, we really have a lot of things that join us and really make rain-fed agriculture, and as a result, whenever droughts hit us, as it has done in the last few years, food. Healthcare is another area, significant need for us to make sure that access to healthcare taking shape in Nairobi, where there's a lot of companies that are going to play in that space that will be attracted. Medium, small, and medium. For this creation of jobs through these vehicles is also another really important area for us to continue to work with. And shortage of housing, and work with private sector to see how we can bring this number of units through affordable housing program, through a PPP program with the government. So that is how we can bring about 1 million acres of land under irrigation that can not only improve our productivity but also improve our food security. Key one, we have current level of energy capacity about 2.7 gigawatt. We are thinking of moving that to about 5,000 megawatts by the year 2030. And apart from the fact that 93% of that is renewable, I think we are pushing to get that to 100%, as the ambassador highlighted earlier on. Distribution of that to the rural areas, last mile connectivity will remain a key part and an opportunity for people to actually invest in. Tourism and climate change are also two key areas that we are looking at. Our president is championing the role for seeing how climate financing, it needs to be done differently on a global stage. And I think one of the things that we are looking at to see how Bretton Woods institutions that were set up a long time ago for a specific reason now are being challenged to actually see how the most recent threat of climate change needs to be looked at through different financing structure. We have one of the best business environment on the continent of Africa, and these are some of the things that actually make Kenya attractive. A very, very strong location, both for Eastern Africa, but also a very, very important place from which we can access the rest of the continent. Political environment is one that we really are proud of. We are one of the most stable entities on the continent of Africa.
So how do you invest in Kenya? And there are 4 ways you can invest in Kenya. First of all, you can just come to Kenya. Our procedures for opening a business is very much streamlined. Within 24 to 48 hours, you've got your business. It doesn't happen like that even in Delaware. So it can't get better. So you can come as yourself, as your business, to open a branch, an offshore subsidiary of your company, a fresh company registration. And by the way, you do not need to know anybody, not even Alfred Mutua, for you to be able to open a business in Kenya. It is that straightforward, and most of our services are actually digital. By end of July, we are going to have 5,000 government services available online on our digital platform, the e-citizen, as part of our e-government approach, and you can be able to take advantage of that. You can also choose to invest in the Nairobi Securities Exchange, one of the most robust, most liquid exchanges in Africa, and which this year we are going to deepen the scope and the breadth of the capital markets through a number of listing and privatization. Some of the brands that you've seen here that Meg has talked about. Government of Kenya owns up to 20% of Isuzu. That is going to be available for sale this year. Government of Kenya owns 20% of the bottling subsidiary of Coca-Cola. That is going to be up for grabs this year, and many other privatizations, including our pipeline company and the 2 companies that are controlling our renewable resources, that is Kengen and Geothermal. That is talking to the commitment of the government of Kenya in terms of ensuring that we exit the space of enterprise and we let the private sector grow. What we are doing is we are providing an environment that is conducive for investment, starting with the strategic trade and investment partnership that we are discussing. Just last week, we concluded the second round of face-to-face negotiations in Nairobi, and we are going to be back here in the US in the month of July for the 3rd round. And I'm very certain that by close of the year, God willing, we are going to put pen on paper for the first ever strategic trade and investment partnership by the United States in the continent of Africa. This should really speak to you, and it should really to speak to your checkbooks and to your pockets as you make this decision. So this is a manifestation of the commitment of the government of Kenya and the government of the United States to ensure that your investments are safe and that we really provide an environment that is good for your business. I am also in charge of ensuring that most of those challenges that Meg Whitman has talked about in terms of the business environment, the regulatory environment, we've given ourselves up to only 6 weeks to pass legislation that President Ruto announced at the sidelines of AmCham that are going to ensure that we provide an environment that's really good for your business.
Kenya is open for business and has been for quite some time, but this is the best time for Kenya. We will hear a lot about the Africa Free Continental Trade Area. That's an agreement that we've signed. That means that when you invest in Kenya, you're not just investing in Kenya, you're investing in the whole of the African continent. The market is open for you, 1.3 billion people that you can get your goods to across the continent. We also have deals that anything produced in Kenya can be sold within the East African context. That means you have Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, DRC, and more are coming. Then you've got the COMESA market. We are going shortly to have what is called a troika with companies from South Africa and others. So Kenya is the best place for you to position yourself if you want to make money in the continent of Africa. She'll not tell you, but the returns in Kenya are quite high. They're not the 1 or 2%. You're looking at 10, 15, 20, even in some sectors like hospitality, 40% return in your investment. So it's a place that you come in and you'll be able to make money.